With me today in studio, Barbara Dunn, school committee member. We're going to talk about community partnerships and possibly a new innovation school in the Barnstable Public School District. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So let's start a little bit. You're the new kid on the block, I guess you could say. So how are you finding your seat at the school committee?
I'm enjoying it very much. It's obviously a big learning curve, a lot to learn, but the committee's been great in helping me jump on board, and I think it's feeling really good to have a teacher's voice on the board to bring that perspective, which is mainly why I pursued it. So far I love it, yeah.
Excellent. So you were a former educator. Tell our viewers at home where you were a teacher.
For many years, most of my teaching career, I was at Osterville Bay School, and then when that closed in 2008, I moved over. The fourth grades were all moved into Barnstable United, and I taught there for several years. I retired a year ago. My last 3 years of teaching were teaching in the Gateway program at Barnstable United.
And you just couldn't get away from education, could you?
Exactly, exactly.
Well, the school committee is really lucky to have your voice there as a teacher, and you just got one of your first committee assignments.
I did. I'm going to be involved with the Innovation School. There's a working group right now at the school, and they're in the process of building a stakeholders group who will then be involved with next steps moving forward to create an innovation school.
Okay, so the innovation school will sort of morph from where the charter school was. It's got a little bit more, so talk about innovation school. There's a little more oversight locally to that. What is an innovation school?
So the innovation school is very similar to the charter school model. However, the main difference is that the oversight stays local, as you said. The school committee, along with the guidance of the superintendent, will approve the application as that goes through the process. And then after that, the evaluation and oversight stays with the superintendent and school committee. That's the main difference.
Okay. And how does an innovation school differ from just, say, a standard elementary school?
So through the application process, as the stakeholders group goes through the steps, they have the opportunity to identify autonomies, things that they would like to do in a unique way from what every other public school is doing. Okay. They have the opportunity to have more voice in their own curriculum, their budget, the school calendar, professional development, staffing, all of that. The key is that as they identify areas that they want autonomies in, they also have to make the correlation to how that's going to impact student learning and school performance.
Okay. And what kind of experience does folks with innovation schools, are there many of those on the Cape here, or is this something new?
There's a couple in Dennis, Yarmouth. I'm not totally familiar with what else is going on, but I'm aware of that. I believe there's 57 in the state. I think I looked to see about that. So I think it's growing as the population of charter schools is changing. I think it's a great option for places that were charter schools that maybe are no longer but still want to have more voice in their school.
All right. So when you talk about curriculum and things of that nature with a school and that autonomy, so they're able to develop different units than the straight elementary, say you're going to learn about Thanksgiving, because that's a difference?
Right. I think the key is that every school has to base their academics on the standards that the state puts out, but how they accomplish that can vary. So an innovation school has the opportunity to maybe use a different math program, math resource. Those are all tools to deliver the standards, and they have the opportunity to maybe try something unique as they would like to do.
So we'll talk a little bit about standards and testing. So they follow those same things, the MCAS and stuff like that too?
Their accountability is the same as all public schools in terms of being accountable to the state. That's That stays the same.
And the local accountability, what happens, is it obviously the superintendent, but the school committee has some oversight as well, like they do for our
Correct.
normal public schools?
Right. So when they create this application and state what areas they want autonomies in, they will also set measurable annual goals. And so the superintendent will do an annual evaluation, looking at those measurable goals and seeing how they're doing in that area. And the application, the time frame is 5 years, and then they can apply after the 5 years for an extension. And each time it will be looked at as to how they're doing.
Right. So this particular school is a first for Barnstable Public Schools?
Correct.
And you formed a committee. So what is that committee actually going to do?
So we have our first meeting the end of this month. I will be the liaison from the school committee, helping to develop the application, giving any input I might have, and then I will bring back information to the school committee when we meet to share how that process is playing out. There will be a principal in the district, the superintendent, 2 teachers, a parent, myself, and then I think it can be up to 11 people on the stakeholders group, who will all have input in deciding. I'm guessing, anticipating that some of the unique initiatives that the charter school has going, they'll want to continue. They have enrichment clusters and things like that that are very, very successful and well-liked. And we haven't met yet, but I'm anticipating they'll want to continue some of those. There may be some new ideas that come up.
Okay. What do you want parents to know about this possible change to their school, and how can they maybe educate themselves on the differences of the 2 schools and maybe perhaps a path forward with this innovation school?
Well, first of all, I'll say that anytime we meet, it's public meeting. So if parents want to learn more, a great way to do it would to find out when the meetings are, and they're welcome to be listening in on what's going on at that meeting. It's an open meeting to the public. The Department of Education website has quite a bit of information on innovation schools in general, and that's another place to just have a better, deeper understanding of innovation schools. So I think parents that are anticipating the changes that might be coming, who are very tied to the charter school model, should know that there may not be as many changes as they think they're going to be. That the school, I know the school committee and the superintendent are really happy with what's been going on at the charter school, and they've been doing a great job. Their initiatives are wonderful. Their scores have been strong. No one that I'm aware of wants to change all those great things they're doing. So a lot will stay the same.
Okay, that's great news for parents and for folks that were a little having some trepidation about this change.
Exactly.
And that brings up community as a large. Partnerships. Why are community partnerships important to schools?
Well, I'm, as I had mentioned to you earlier, starting on another committee that one of the district's strategic goals is to build community partnerships. Years ago when I was teaching, community connections were more loose. They weren't structured. It was a parent would come in, a professional would come in. The goal now is to better structure it so all the schools in the district are having equal opportunity for community connections. And I believe when a student has someone from the community come in, whatever the topic is, to hear it directly from the source is the best kind of learning opportunity. I think same for educators. It feels like supportive and a great learning opportunity to have people that are out there in the trenches of whatever the topic is. And I think for the community members to be invested in the schools. We're all interconnected in one way or another, and I think the more community connections there are, the more investment in the student population there is, the more resources, the more understanding for why monies are being spent a certain way, which is obviously a concern for residents. So I think it's an all positive aspect to tie community partnerships.
Right. And community partnerships, let's kind of take this. So it's not just the high school student looking for an internship, is it?
Not
it
at
really
all.
goes right down into the pre-K level.
Absolutely. Whether it's oftentimes because of logistics, it's bringing people into the schools. But now we're really trying to tie more to the curriculum and the standards rather than just random people coming in. And as I mentioned, it's a great learning tool that's not opening a math book, it's bringing someone in. And it's also connecting with more reach, you know, it doesn't just have to be at the high school, that students get out into the community. And I think the sooner kids are involved with how a community functions and works in the professional world, the better building blocks that's going to be for their future. And the schools now, it's all about career readiness.
Right. One last question is, how can people get involved if they want to be a community partner?
Well, I have an email. I would think I'm the perfect resource because I am chairing this new committee.
Great.
So I have the same email that's district-wide, the Barnstable district email. And if people want to contact me for reaching out, I'd absolutely be thrilled to hear from them. Our committee's pretty flexible. We have people coming to just one meeting, many meetings, some people that are just offering to be a resource without necessarily attending meetings. So if there's interest, absolutely.
It's kind of like back where, you know, take your daughter to work kind of thing. I can remember doing that as a kid and having my whole second grade class go to the Air Force, the Air Guard base. My dad was fire chief there.
Oh, really?
It was,
Yeah.
I think one of the highlights of second grade was to go, yeah, that's my dad's
Absolutely.
truck.
And where do you see the most enthusiasm from
Right.
kids when they're doing hands-on, whether it's material or people, you know, when they're out there outside of the typical daily classroom experience, that's where you see such excitement about learning.
Anything else you want our viewers to know about school committee and the path forward here from 2019?
Well, I think as for myself and for the committee, we're very much looking forward to helping the charter school transition to obviously there's a process. Sure. And we don't know where that'll end up, but in anticipation that it will go forward, I think we're very excited to give the charter school a lot of support in making this transition, however it plays out. And I think within the district, that's obviously a huge piece of the change going on is the innovation school, and who knows where that will lead for other schools down the road. But for the immediate, I think that's the highlight.
Excellent. Thanks so much for joining us, Barbara.
Thank you. I've enjoyed chatting.